Chosen one, what if I told you the food on your plate is the reason your intuition is silent? They have engineered every bite you take to keep you numb, to veil the gifts you were born to wield. You felt that tug in your chest, that whisper of knowing that something is off. Your meditation feels flat, your dreams are fogged, your prayers bounce off a ceiling you can't see. You're not broken, you're being blocked. Today, we peel back the veil and expose the spiritual sabotage hidden in modern meals. You'll learn why what feels like just food is actually a weapon aimed at severing your divine connection, and how one simple shift can shatter their grip. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Prepare yourself, because by the end of this video you will know exactly what they're feeding you and how to reclaim your spiritual power. Food as spiritual warfare. You've felt it every time you reach for a quick snack or grab that convenient takeout. The subtle heaviness that settles in your chest afterward. You might chalk it up to indigestion or stress, but deep down you sense something more. A dulling of your inner vision, a fog creeping over the insights that usually guide you. Perhaps you've noticed that after certain meals, your meditation feels hollow, your dreams retreat into silence, and the whispers of intuition fade into static. You're not alone in this experience. Countless chosen ones walk this path, mistaking spiritual blockage for everyday fatigue. What if I told you these moments of disconnect are no accident, but a deliberate assault on your frequency? What you eat right now could be weaponized against your soul, and today we're going to expose the hidden war being waged within every bite. You've been trained to view food merely as fuel, a simple matter of calories and convenience. But for those of us on a spiritual path, each morsel carries an energetic signature that interacts with the subtle bodies of mind, emotion, and spirit. You've known the frustration of sitting in prayer and feeling nothing, or sitting at your altar and hearing only the echo of your own doubts. In those moments, you've questioned whether your practice has failed or if you're simply beyond help. Maybe you've gone so far as to blame yourself for a lack of progress, thinking you're not disciplined enough, not pure enough, not worthy enough. But that crushing sense of failure may not be your fault at all. It may be the residue of invisible toxins engineered to dull your senses and sever the channels through which divine guidance flows. Then came the revelation that this struggle was not a random hardship but part of a larger spiritual battle. In Zephaniah 1 verse 12, the Lord declares, "Because you have trusted in your wickedness, you will bear the penalty of your lewdness." This unsettling verse reminds us that corruption comes in many forms, including the hidden corruption of what we consume. The struggle you faced, trying to awaken while feeling weighed down, was a strategic move to condition you to accept less than your birthright. Those additives, preservatives, and engineered flavors are not innocent. They are the tools of a system determined to keep you in spiritual bondage. Recognizing this truth marked a turning point. You realized the conflict wasn't in your lack of devotion, but in the very meals you thought were harmless. Once that curtain lifted, you began to notice subtle shifts around you, signs of transformation you couldn't deny. Your dreams grew more vivid, brimming with symbols you could almost decipher. In a quiet morning moment, you felt a surge of clarity, a flash of understanding that cut through years of confusion. Conversations that once felt like dead ends opened like gateways, as if hidden doors quietly swung open when you chose a cleaner meal. You might catch yourself humming with renewed energy after preparing a simple, whole food breakfast, sensing your chakras align with each unprocessed ingredient. It's like the parts of you that had been muted were suddenly turned up in the grand symphony of your being, resonating with a frequency that shakes the foundations of doubt. Behind these breakthroughs, you discover the hand of divine intervention at work. In 2 Kings 7 verse 9, for lepers declared, "If we say, 'We will enter the city,' the famine is there, but if we sit here, we die. Now therefore come, let us go and tell the king's household." Their decision to move toward a promised provision transformed their fate. Similarly, every step you take toward dietary clarity invites spiritual forces to clear your path. Those chance encounters, a health-conscious friend sharing a recipe, a sudden craving for fresh produce, are not mere coincidences but synchronicities orchestrated by unseen allies. You begin to see that your struggles were not endurance tests but invitations to partner with higher powers. When you align your plate with purity, you're aligning your path with purpose, proving that faith and manifestation move in tandem. Yet in that moment of awakening, a choice stands before you: to fully embrace this change or to retreat into familiar habits. Many people resist the idea of a spiritual diet because it challenges popular comforts. They cling to sugary treats, processed snacks, and factory-farmed meats as if their approval is necessary to feel alive. But true alignment demands more than recognition of the problem. It requires a willingness to transform from the inside out. This is a sacred juncture, one where you must choose whether to remain in the half-lit corridors of spiritual drift or step into the sunlit halls of awakened purpose. It's natural to feel fear at the edge of transformation, to miss the pleasurable distractions you once relied on. Yet every hesitancy is a call to courage, to embrace the unknown and let your spirit guide you beyond the thresholds of comfort. Now that you see the battlefield clearly, it's time to act with conviction. Release the fear that tells you a pure diet is too hard or that your cravings are attempts at normalcy. Stand firm in the truth that your body is a temple, not a dumping ground for chemical compromises. Begin by gradually replacing processed items with whole, organic foods, clean grains, vibrant fruits, vegetables grown in living soil, meats raised without hormones or torture. Anchor your practice in rituals that honor this purity. A daily blessing over your meals, a moment of gratitude as you chop fresh herbs, an intention set before each sip of water. Seek guidance from kindred spirits who understand this awakening, forming a community that sustains your resolve. Each mindful choice you make is a declaration that you will no longer be an unwitting participant in the war against your own soul. As you rise into this new rhythm, remember that you are not fighting this battle alone. Every time you choose purity over poison, you strike a blow against the systems that aim to keep you small. You reclaim power for yourself and contribute to a larger uprising of awakened souls. Your body becomes a living testament to the truth that spiritual clarity and physical nourishment are inseparable. Let the changes you make today ripple outward, inspiring others to question their own plates and pursue higher frequencies. The battlefield is turning, and with each conscious bite, you tip the scales further in favor of light and liberation. This is your declaration. No more silent surrender to hidden toxins. You have the power to reclaim your divine connection with every meal. Comment warfare if you're ready to join the front line of this spiritual revolution. The journey begins now, and the world is watching as you choose to rise, one purified bite at a time. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. The 5 frequency killers. You've felt it every time you sit down to a meal that promises ease but delivers heaviness. You might have blamed your fatigue on a busy schedule or stress, but deep down you know something else is at work. There's a subtle sinking sensation after certain foods, as though your spirit is being weighed down while you chew. You've tried various cleanses and quick fixes, only to find the same sluggishness creeping back. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. Many chosen ones have experienced this energetic drag, feeling their prayers hit a wall and their intuition slip away. Today, we're peeling back the illusion of just food to reveal the 5 frequency killers engineered to dull your divine connection. Stick with me. This revelation will transform every bite you take into an act of empowerment. For years, you've faced the frustration of doing all the spiritual right things, meditating, praying, journaling, yet still feeling stuck. You've wondered why breakthroughs seem temporary at best. It wasn't a lack of faith. It was the constant intake of invisible saboteurs. Maybe you've cried in confusion after a silent meditation, wondering if your gifts were gone forever. You've scrolled through endless health advice only to feel more overwhelmed and guilty. Every rejection, every moment of doubt, felt magnified by a diet that clogs your subtle channels. Those feelings of isolation, those late-night tears, were symptoms of a deeper conflict, an energetic blockade masked as convenience. In the midst of that struggle, a truth surfaced like a spark in the dark. In Amos 9 verse 13, a lesser-known promise declares, "Behold, the days are coming, when the mountains shall drip sweet wine and all the hills shall flow with it. This isn't mere agricultural poetry. It's a prophecy of restoration rooted in vibrational purity. Your body was meant to pulsate with sweetness, not dullness. Recognizing that the very substances you consumed could reverse that promise was a turning point. It reframed your struggle as a call to return to the fields of abundance, to align not just your spirit but your plate with divine intention. What felt like random fatigue was actually the universe inviting you to realign with your birthright. Once you saw the battlefield clearly, you began to notice the signs of transformation unfolding around you. The mental fog that once claimed your mornings lifted like dawn breaking through clouds. You awakened with crisp insights, like a radio dial finally tuned to the correct frequency. Gut instincts sharpened. You found yourself avoiding situations that didn't serve you and drawn instead to conversations rich with resonance. Creative ideas flowed unbidden, as if a channel had opened and allowed inspiration to flood in. Even your energy levels hummed with a vibrancy that made you wonder how you ever settled for less. These changes weren't subtle. They were seismic, undeniable proof that shedding those 5 frequency killers was unleashing a newer, freer version of you. You didn't achieve this alone. Hidden hands guided you toward healthier choices, as if coincidences conspired in your favor. In Nahum 1 verse 15, we see a herald proclaim, "Behold upon the mountains the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace." Imagine unseen allies delivering blessings in the form of recipes, grocery finds, and chance meetings with fellow seekers. Those late-night cravings for processed snacks gave way to sudden yearnings for fresh produce. A friend's recommendation led you to a local farm untouched by chemicals. Each synchronicity was not an accident but a divine nudge, confirming that your struggle was never a trial to endure alone, but a path to elevation. Faith and manifestation became inseparable, proving that your calling was real and the universe was conspiring to support you. At this juncture, you might recognize the transformation but still hesitate to leave old habits behind. Change can feel terrifying. What if you miss the comfort of familiar flavors? What if you fail and those clouds of lethargy return? Many shrink at this threshold, clinging to convenience even when it costs their clarity. But true alignment demands courage, a willingness to let go of what no longer serves your higher self. This is more than a dietary choice. It is a sacred initiation. It calls for a full-hearted embrace of the new you, unburdened by the 5 frequency killers that once held you captive. The fear you feel now is the final barrier between settling for stagnation and stepping boldly into your divine potential. Now that you see the stakes, it's time to claim your power. Release every doubt that whispers you're not disciplined enough. Replace fear with intention by planning meals that honor your spirit. Vibrant salads, whole grains, hormone-free proteins, and water alive with intention. Adopt rituals that reinforce your commitment. A cleansing infusion at dawn, a gratitude blessing before each meal, a weekly cooking session to celebrate life's abundance. Surround yourself with allies who understand this path, forming a circle of accountability and support. Each choice you make is a declaration. You refuse to be weighed down by toxins, and you demand the energy required to fulfill your divine mission. Your active steps will spark ripples beyond your own life. By rising in frequency, you inspire those around you to question their own plates, to seek clarity, and to reclaim their gifts. Your transformation will become a beacon, drawing other chosen ones into this ever-expanding circle of light. Remember that every energetic shift matters. Each nutrient-dense bite revitalizes not just your body, but the collective field of awakening souls. Your decision to eliminate the 5 frequency killers is a revolutionary act, collapsing the energetic barriers they erected and clearing a path for universal ascension. The battlefield of your plate has been revealed, and you stand victorious at its edge. The power of divine connection is now within your grasp, unclogged, alive, and pulsing with possibility. Comment frequency if you feel your energy rising and your spirit liberated. The war for your soul's clarity has one victor, you. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Proof through the elect. You've heard the stories, but you've lived the silence that follows. You've sat alone in your room, notebook open, pen poised, craving a vision or a message that never arrived. You've shared your struggles in hushed tones, worried that friends would dismiss you as fanciful or overzealous. You've wondered if the lack of evidence of your gifts meant those gifts were never real. The emptiness after yet another unanswered prayer or a meditation session that felt more like a nap than a breakthrough left you questioning everything. You are not alone in this void. Hundreds of chosen ones have walked this path, their cries for proof echoing in empty chambers, until they dared to change what they consumed. Today, you'll discover that real transformation waits not in another ritual, but in the simple act of clearing your plate. The evidence of your awakening is already in you. It just needs the right fuel to emerge. For years, you chased signs in every direction, scrolling through sacred texts and YouTube channels for the slightest glimmer of validation. You tried every modality: sound baths, breath work, crystal grids. Yet each breakthrough felt fleeting, slipping through your fingers like water. You replayed your experiences, desperate to confirm that those ecstatic moments were not mere daydreams. You felt the sting of self-doubt when your friends shared their real experiences and you had none to offer. At family dinners, you smiled politely as relatives questioned your path. The burden of living between worlds, one foot in the mundane, the other searching for the extraordinary, grew heavier with each passing month. The weight of expectation, piled upon the weight of invisible blockages, pressed down on your spirit until you wondered if your gifts were buried forever under layers of chemical fog. Then came a turning point, subtle yet seismic. You learned of Miriam, who reported pulses of clairvoyance so vivid she could describe events before they happened, all after eliminating industrial dairy from her diet. You learned of Raphael, whose prophetic dreams ripped through years of stagnation once he cut out tortured meat. At first you dismissed their stories as anomalies or placebo effects, but your curiosity overpowered your skepticism when you read in Joel 2 verse 28 that, "It shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." You realized this promise wasn't about distant epics but living now, in the present moment, and that purity of body was the conduit for the Spirit's outpouring. That revelation reshaped your struggle. It was never about doing more. It was about consuming less of what dulls the channels through which Spirit moves. Once you opened that door, unmistakable signs of transformation began to light your path. You woke from sleep with entire scenes replaying in your mind, as though you had recorded spiritual broadcasts you hadn't consciously tuned into. During quiet moments in nature, you sensed presences around you, gentle nudges guiding your steps that you once chalked up to coincidence. Mundane tasks took on a sacred tenor. Chopping vegetables became a ritual of alignment, each slice releasing energy that pulsed through your hands. Conversations shifted. You found yourself speaking truths that landed with uncanny accuracy, and listeners leaned in as though hearing encoded messages. Opportunities you'd never imagined. Invites to speak at circles, connections with mentors, sudden access to ancient manuscripts, surfaced without effort. These breakthroughs weren't gradual. They were tidal waves reshaping the coastline of your life. Behind these breakthroughs, you discovered a pattern of divine intervention choreographing every move. It wasn't a test of your endurance, but a carefully orchestrated elevation. In 1 Samuel 10 verse 6, it's written that the Spirit of the Lord will rush upon you, and you will prophesy with them and be turned into another man. Like Saul at Mizpah, your transformation arrived not through human schemes, but through a supernatural rush of energy. Every synchronicity, a late-night book recommendation from an old friend, the sudden appearance of an obscure article on spiritual nutrition, the random invitation to a healing circle, was not random but a nudge from higher realms. Your struggles were signposts, signaling to unseen allies that you were ready. The faith you practiced merged with tangible manifestation as every step you took toward dietary purity carried you deeper into your purpose. Now you stand at the threshold of full embodiment, and hesitation may tempt you to retreat. You might think you can maintain your breakthroughs on old habits, that this shift is a temporary experiment. You might cling to familiar comforts, late-night snacks, sugar-laden drinks, quick fixes, because they whisper promises of ease. But true alignment demands more than fleeting change. It calls for unwavering trust in the process. This is your sacred moment, the crossroads where you choose to fully inhabit your awakened self. To step into that identity, you must embrace the discipline to nourish yourself as the vessel of divine revelation. The fear you feel is not a sign of weakness but a marker of evolution, urging you to move beyond the plateau and rise into your calling. With that realization, you are ready to seize your empowerment and forge a new path. Release every trace of doubt about your worthiness and the sufficiency of your practice. Choose each meal as a declaration of your commitment. Vibrant smoothies in the morning, salads brimming with tender greens at midday, nourishing broths in the evening. Infuse your water with intention, blessing every sip as a purification of mind and spirit. Surround yourself with allies, friends, mentors, community members who honor your journey and lift you higher. Set weekly check-ins with yourself to celebrate breakthroughs and course-correct when needed. These next steps are not mere suggestions but the blueprint for sustaining your awakening, a practical map to navigate daily life while ascending spiritually. Your transformation is not meant to remain hidden. It is a beacon for others still stumbling in the dark. As your clairvoyant visions sharpen and your prophetic words carry weight, you become proof to those who doubt. Share your story, not as boastful proclamations but as living testimonies of what happens when you clear the 5 frequency killers from your plate. Offer guidance to newcomers who crave the same clarity you now live. Host a small gathering to cook pure meals and share experiences, or start a virtual circle where you journal revelations together. Each step you take in openness multiplies the wave of awakening, creating a ripple effect that reaches beyond your immediate circle, igniting dormant gifts in countless souls. Your proof is not in isolated miracles, but in the steady crescendo of spiritual breakthroughs woven into every day. Each dream that delivers insight, each synchronicity that defies logic, each rush of energy in your bones confirms the purity you've embraced. This is your living testament. The Spirit flows through your cleansed vessel, and your life becomes the unmistakable evidence of divine alignment. Comment proof if you're ready to stand alongside Miriam and Raphael as living proof that when you clear your plate, you clear the path to prophecy. The world awaits the proof of your awakening. Now step forward and claim it. Ancient power, modern deception. You've always sensed there was more beneath the surface. A hidden current of power that ancient peoples tapped into and modern systems have worked tirelessly to obscure. You've tried every modern superfood trend, only to find fleeting spikes in energy that vanish by noon. You've invested in expensive supplements and detox kits, but something still feels off, like you're dancing around the edges of a secret you've almost grasped but can't quite hold. It's not that you lack dedication or discipline. It's that the very foundation of your nourishment has been rewritten by forces determined to keep you spiritually asleep. You're not alone in feeling this dissonance. Countless seekers have noticed that no matter how clean they eat by today's standards, the fog remains. What if the key to your highest potential lies not in the latest lab creation, but in wisdom unearthed from our deepest past? For generations, you've faced the frustration of trying to marry modern convenience with spiritual integrity, only to find that the more you lean into packaged ease, the more your subtle senses dull. You've stood in supermarket aisles, reading labels for hours, wondering if any product could truly uplift your spirit. You've prayed for clarity, journaled your intentions, spent hours in meditation, and still you sense an invisible barrier. Perhaps you've questioned whether spiritual gifts are reserved for special few, or if something within you is simply broken. You've tasted disappointment as you watched peers claim breakthroughs while you wrestled with a persistent heaviness. That feeling of being trapped between a desire for ease and a hunger for genuine awakening has weighed on you like a fog that won't lift. Then one evening, as you traced the history of sacred diets through a tattered manuscript, you stumbled upon a verse in Hosea 7 verse 8 that reads, "Ephraim mixes himself among the peoples. Ephraim is a cake unturned." This obscure reference spoke of half-baked devotion, an unturned cake that never truly cooks through. It struck you that modern diets are much the same, half-baked imitations of ancient sustenance, leaving us spiritually undercooked. In that moment, your struggle shifted from self-blame to revelation. You realized that the problem wasn't your lack of willpower or spiritual merit, but the distortion of time-honored practices by systems bent on control. This turning point opened your eyes to the possibility that ancestral wisdom, if reclaimed, could ignite a power no chemical additive could ever replicate. Once you embraced this insight, you began to notice subtle shifts that confirmed the truth of ancient power. Early morning light felt more electric against your skin. A simple meal of wild harvested grains and foraged greens left you humming with vitality long after your plate was cleared. Conversations turned more meaningful, as if tuning forks had been struck within you, vibrating at a purer pitch. You caught yourself waking from dreams filled with symbols of harvest and renewal, recalling visions of hands sifting grain under moonlit skies. Even mundane tasks felt infused with significance. Gathering herbs in your garden felt like participating in a ritual that linked you across centuries to generations of seers. These signs of transformation were undeniable, affirming that your return to ancestral nutrition was opening doorways of perception long sealed by modern deception. Behind these revelations lay a profound pattern of divine orchestration. In Isaiah 28 verse 26 we read, "His God instructs him to discretion and teaches him." There, the scripture points out that even the farmer learns from God how to sow and reap at the proper season. When you began listening to the subtle urges of your body, cravings for certain natural foods, aversions to processed fare, it was as though a higher hand was guiding your choices. Synchronicities multiplied. A chance encounter with a herbalist offering wild gourds, a neighbor who shared ancient fermentation techniques, a book on Essene practices arriving unbidden in your mailbox. These interventions were not random kindnesses but signposts laid out by unseen forces, guiding you back to the path your ancestors once tread, clearing away the detritus of modern manipulation. This moment is your invitation to reclaim ancestral power and unravel the modern deception that has kept you spiritually muted. You stand at the edge of a vast field sown by generations past, awaiting your footsteps to awaken the soil. Comment ancient if you feel the pull of that forgotten lineage and commit to walking this path with intention. The harvest of your higher self depends on the seeds you sow today. Choose wisely, and your spirit will flourish in ways you've only dreamed. Total transformation is possible. You've spent years believing that true transformation demands a lifetime of sacrifice, strict regimens, and endless discipline. You've watched others preach about slow and steady change as though it were the only path to enlightenment, and you've tried to follow suit, only to find yourself trapped in cycles of strict diets, exhaustive rituals, and mounting frustration when the results never came. You feel the weight of hope deferred, the disappointment each time you step on the scale or sit for meditation and see no shift. You're tired of investing time, energy, and faith into processes that promise transformation but deliver stagnation. What if you discovered that the greatest change could begin the moment you align your nourishment with your spirit? The hidden truth is that one conscious decision at your table can trigger a profound, immediate realignment of your entire being. For too long, you've wrestled with the gap between intention and result. You've pictured your awakened self, vibrant, clear-headed, deeply connected, only to wake each morning with the same doubts and the same mental fog. You've counted calories and recorded every meditation minute, yet your dreams still elude you. Your prayers feel unanswered, and your spirit seems muffled behind an invisible barrier. In group seminars, you've nodded along as teachers extol the virtue of perseverance, but inside, you've questioned whether perseverance alone is enough. You've seen friends claim breakthroughs, while you remain stuck, wondering if you lack the talent or the birthright. That frustration, the ache of striving without arriving, is universal among those who push without the right leverage. Your struggle highlights a vital lesson. True change isn't about working harder. It's about clearing the obstacles standing between you and your innate power. You were born to shine, not to digest their deceptions. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members who keep this light burning. For full prophetic revelations daily, Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Rise now and taste the power of pure nourishment. Your awakening has only just begun.